Yeah, I think both sides kind of make sense. I don't really know how to determine.
I don't know if he's doing an intro.
I have no. I've hit it should be live now. It says we're
It says live.
live.
I just thought you might want to do an intro. Sorry, buddy.
Oh no, fuck the intro. I'm just hijacking 420's channel because to give me access. So who's echoing? Is it me? Hijacking 420's
You.
channel
Or Skeptic.
who's echoing? Is it me?
Skeptic, it's you. You got to turn your mic off.
Oh, he's probably got the stream going in the background.
Yeah. So Ethan was just telling me his position, which is probably helpful before he gives the answer to the thought experiment. So are you a determinist, or are you, what do you think of the thought experiment? Do we have to give it again, I guess, or has everybody just come over from the other?
Yeah, we've all moved over. Well.
Oh, okay,
yeah,
so we'll just
continue
then from where we left off?
Yeah, that's fine. So, I mean, I think I think I would consider myself a determinist in a sense for sure. But as far as this question goes, I mean, I guess, I don't know. I'm like trying to see what would kind of sway me one way or the other, if that makes sense, right? Like, obviously, if determinism is true and like everything's determined by physical events or whatever, then yes, the two people are going to react exactly the same in every situation, that the physical facts are the same, right? If that makes sense.
But you're a dualist, aren't you?
Yeah, I think so. So as far as like my position, I would just say that like all the facts probably aren't the same, because there's like whatever sort of soul or whatever that it necessarily, I don't want to, it doesn't need to necessarily have like exact theological connotations or whatever, but I do think there's like a non-physical part of us humans. So there's no way that would experience the exact same determining forces, right? So like you could be a determinist and say they act differently, but like not all the inputs are the same, because there's different ways that like whatever the non-physical part reacts to the outside world. Or I don't know if I'm like wording this exactly right, because this is like philosophy of mind is not something I talk about very often. So I might.
It's interesting though too, because you would, if you're a determinist, presumably you would think that even though they might be given two different souls from God, one might wonder like, well, okay, if you believe in determinism, certainly it would stem from or come from the soul down through the body from God, because that's usually the Calvinistic position, right? So like, but obviously like the physical attributes of a person, are those determined normally by like from the top down from God? Like presumably not totally, but the soul certainly would be. And if that's the locus of the mind, and God would give these two persons two different souls, then but they would still be determined to whatever their soul was to do. But so this to me actually is kind of a bolster for my position that like our souls just develop, and like God saw it before the beginning of the world sort of thing. But so I don't like my answer, but you would see, that's what's interesting. My friend's probably more deterministic than you, but he still claimed, like you're saying, like they wouldn't do the exact same thing because of that same reason. I find that fascinating, I guess. Do you believe in free will or libertarian free will though?
No, I don't hold a libertarian free will. I mean, I definitely believe in like free will, but I think most conversations like around free will are like confused, or I think if you've ever read on David Bentley Hart's view, I think he's puts forward like one of the best explanations of free will. And it's kind of like a third view almost, like, and it doesn't really go along with this sort of libertarian versus no free will dialectic or whatever.
If I can just jump in and say thank you to everybody for moving over. We've got 9 maybe people jumped over from it. Marty, I don't know if anyone here knows Marty. I think Jamie got a short introduction maybe last week when he was talking to Jay. Ethan, I'm sure, I guarantee you, if I'm bound to have talked to you about Marty. And Skeptic, possibly, maybe not, but very good. Yeah, it's good to have you here, Marty. He jumped in literally at the end so they could get the link to continue where it's going. So I would say that you have something to play and something to say, Marty. So if you want to give an introduction to 420's audience of your skills, your accreditation, and your skills, your accreditation, and your biggest passion, because it's held in your hand and about 6 foot long.
Whoa. Wow. So, man, I don't know if I have much more to add to that. Because I mean, that was just so good.
You just want me to end with saying it's 6 foot long and in your hand. That's it.
Just, I'm so happy.
Tell me
so
how much
happiness right now.
Frames cost and what brand they are, because I want them.
So, my name's Chris. My last name's Mowdy. My friends call me Mowdy. Mowdy. If you really want to get fancy, it's Mowdy. So I don't know. I'm a bass player, and I happen to have my bass right here. Can you see it? It's a headless bass, so you can only see the non-head of it.
So you're definitely
that's what I have to say.
The head of your bass, not showing your head.
Listen, and I heard the last 5 minutes of the last hang, and I'm listening to the first few minutes of this, so I'm getting oriented to what's going down. And I have some things to say. I will have some things to say, but for right now, I have some things to play. I got a new tone.
Would you mind if Jamie and Spartan continued their conversation and I tweaked your volume to turn you down so you were more background music while you jam and they chat for a couple of minutes so you can get orientated?
I think that the StreamYard compression for audio will prevent that from being a smooth thing. I think that me playing in the background is going to jack up because of the compressor.
Well, it's either you play in the background or we all just be quiet and listen to you play, which I have no problem with.
No. I would rather not play and have Jamie and Ethan talking while I listen. And I'll just play while I'm muted.
No, don't do that. Will you do one thing? Will you do audio reactions? So say, right, if I say the line, Skeptic skipped on a banana peel, you would go, right, that's what we're going to do. We're going to do Christian conversation with Mowdy reactions. Audio.
So I just have one request. If anyone, this is probably the one thing I've ever said online that I actually have a little bit of pride for. So just call it Jamie Russell's thought experiment. That's all I ask. That's all. That's my only request.
Jamie, go for it.
Yeah, keep playing, man. You can keep playing. I was curious. I wanted to hear from Ethan.
Yeah, so
I totally ignored him and turned his volume down, so he'll jam in the background. You talk.
Yeah, so I'm a bit confused exactly where we left off, but
free will, determinism, some middle ground in between. I think that's where Ethan was coming from.
Yeah, like I definitely. Yeah.
Describe that guy's position. I'm not sure. I don't remember what it was. Is some sort of compatibilism?
Yeah, I mean, it's basically compatibilism, but it's kind of like the idea that, like, when people talk about libertarian free will, a lot of times they bring up, like, having, principle of alternative possibilities, or, like, there could be multiple options. You could have done this or you could have done that, and that's what makes something free. But in my view, I don't think, like, just having options, I don't really think options are necessary for freedom or whatever. I think you can be determined to do, like, what truly is, like, the best possible choice to make or whatever. Like, this is the choice you want to make. This is the best choice that's gonna, for, like, the outcome that you want to achieve. And you're free, even if that's the only choice you could possibly make, if that makes sense. So I don't think.
Yeah, that's the compatibilist view. It's like free will. Like, you have a will, and your will determines what you'll do, and you do your greatest. The only problem I have with that is it seems very much like a complicated instinct. So, like, I guess maybe the magic's in the deliberation and the ability to choose either way. But I do feel the rub what you're saying. Like, there's factors, there's reasons you do choose what you do choose. So, and otherwise it would be indeterminate. So that seems problematic.
Yeah, I mean, I see what you're saying. I just don't see how it could be any otherwise. Like, I think libertarian free will just turns into just randomness,
magic,
or some kind of magic or whatever. Yeah, and I think Mowdy might have something to add here. So. Or maybe not.
I just want to. I do, but I don't. Math Pig had turned my volume down, so I just want to make sure that I can be heard. That I am heard.
Yes. You are heard.
You guys can hear me, right?
Yes.
You are
I
beautiful.
know what everybody wants, Ethan.
Yeah.
I want to be heard.
You're like
So
Joel
first,
Osteen over
first, I want to, well, two things actually. I'd love to hear a reiteration of the thought experiment, just for my own sake, because in the first few minutes I didn't hear a reiteration of it, and I like that. But first, the idea that there are reasons why we make choices. Now, I'm going to come at this from a psychological angle, and I'm not doing this to rain on anyone's philosophical parade. But if you guys were interested in going down that route, that happens to be my wheelhouse. And the fact that we're predictably irrational from a psychological perspective throws a monkey wrench in the there has to be reasons why we make the choices that we do in the free will argument. So I just wanted to offer that. That's all.
As far as restating the thought experiment, it might be interesting if I restate it to like it'll help so Jamie will know I understand.
Well, that's a great idea.
Yeah, and maybe I'll like understand it better too by restating it
I love that.
But before I do that, I had something to say. What you just said, about the irrationality. I just think like any irrational choice we make is not free. Like that's not freedom. Freedom is making like the best rational. And I mean, obviously, as a Christian, like I believe in teleology. So like your telos, like there's actually like a best possible path forward for you. Like I think that exists or whatever, which under atheism, I think that would be much harder to, I don't know why you'd even want to hold to that view. I don't know how you could either, but if that makes sense. So like, if you're not making the best choice, it's not free. And I think like just a really quick analogy for like where I'm coming from. It's almost like if you have a baby and you could put them in like the middle of the highway and they're completely free to do whatever they want, but they're just going to die in 2 seconds. Right. Like, so are they really free? And you could put them in like a restraint, basically like a car seat, and drive them to where you want to go. And I think have completely less like agency and everything. They're completely restrained down, but they're free to, like, that's freedom because they actually get to live and do what's good for them or whatever, if that makes sense.
That does make sense.
Yeah.
Let's hear you reiterate the thought experiment real quick.
Yeah. So the idea is that there's like two basically clones, I think is just the easiest way to go about this, that from every single second of their life, they've experienced the exact same physical inputs and like control for every single thing, whether it's cosmic rays or, down to the atomic level. Every single physical thing that they see, do, hear, experience in any way is exactly the same. So given that, are they going to respond the same in a given scenario? And so that and if you say, yes, they do respond the same, but you hold to free will, it seems weird. Like, where's the free will come in? But if you say, no, they're not going to respond the same, but you're a determinist, then there's an issue there too, which is kind of where we're at, which me as sort of like a compatibilist, which is just determinism, right? Like compatibilism is determinism, which is fine. It just means that like you can still have free will under determinism, which is basically what I just described about like the baby being restrained in a car seat.
Yeah.
I have a quick clarification question. So it's definitely clones. It's not twins.
Well, he said twins, but I think like clones may like
Siamese twins. Yeah.
Okay. Well, they would be Siamese twins. That's what you said.
Well, and more importantly, they'd have it'd just be like the exact same cell, like split twice.
It's a philosophical world where it's exactly the same. You have to take into
same DNA, same. And the only thing I would say that you could have added, but that was brilliant, by the way. I would say but it may be just my own pedantic, OCD. But the time, everything's happening at the same time. And at the same, flow through time. So like, and would you see the same show? Like it was like the same shot from a camera on 2 screens or not, but yeah, you said it perfect.
I love it.
I think
yeah. Okay. Thanks for
something.
the clarification. I mean, I have a zillion things to add, but you guys are on a clear trajectory, and I want that to keep going without.
Yeah, because I think
disruption.
this is something that, as I've thought back through it, repeating it, that definitely helps. 'Cause even though like basically like the way I'm seeing it is like the inputs are the same. Does that mean the output is going to be the same? Like how they respond, and I think even though the inputs are the same, I think what changes is how you perceive those things, and those two people having different soul or whatever. I'm just going to say I hold to a soul because I think it's easier, but those two people having different souls, so they're going to perceive it differently. Like just like two people can watch the same movie and somebody like doesn't understand the joke or whatever, and somebody does and they think it's funny, but they're like seeing the exact same thing. And like,
Can I?
go ahead.
You're agreeing with Antangelo, and all I'm going to say is fascinating.
Where's the Tangelo?
He's not here, but Jamie asked basically the exact same question. And Antangelo's reasoning for different results was the fact that each person has a different soul. Even though it's philosophically the exact same situation with the exact same genetics and the exact same, I don't want to say room, but you mean by the two rooms, they're philosophically the same, you know? And the only reasoning that they would have different responses, I think what we used afterwards was ask them 100 questions and see what sort of responses they get. Antangelo said that they would have different responses because they have different souls. So,
yeah, because the nature and nurture is, the idea is that nature and nurture and through time is precisely the same, exactly the same nature, same nurture. As you could say it that way too. And so to me though, because I'm a physicalist, so I think the soul is just what you are from your experiences and your stimulus in your body. But I do believe in libertarian free will. I want to believe in it, I guess.
Speaking of free will, because this seems like the perfect time for me to
brilliant.
scream out. I would like to just add from my perspective, I don't believe in free will. But that is, again, and you'll probably hear this a lot from me, that's because I don't really understand what it's supposed to be. I would say that the decisions that people make are determined by reasons, but by reasons, I don't mean like logical reasons. I don't mean like they thought about it and then that made them do that. I just mean a series of events or event before that person made that decision caused them to make the decision in the way they did. Like, I don't choose to be hungry. I just am. I just feel that. And then I don't choose what I want to eat. I just sort of search my feelings. And if I want to eat a cheeseburger, then I want to eat a cheeseburger. I didn't choose to want that. I just do. And that seems to be the way in which decisions are made. I would agree that we have decisions, that we make decisions. I just would not agree that those decisions are free in any sense. They seem to be completely determined by our environment, as far as I can tell. But that's just my 2 cents on the free will thing. Is I don't know if that classifies me as a hard determinist or not, but that's just my perspective, is that the things that determine our choices are things outside of our control. So our choices don't seem to be by any stretch to be free because they're
Amen.
not.
Hey, yeah, I know. Like I actually think animals can't rape each other, but neither can humans. You know.
I'm a little confused on that.
I'm being facetious. I'm being facetious.
Oh, okay. Okay. I got scared for a second.
Yeah.
Come on now.
I maybe the point didn't come across. I'm saying like, well,
oh no, it's fine. It's Sammy's channel. It's not mine, so we're not going to get.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, and I'm not going to get in trouble either. So you're good.
Forgive me. I'll be more careful. I'll be more careful. You get the point, though.
Yeah.
No, actually, I didn't. So if you could explain.
Well, if you go too far down that road, you're basically saying humans are just like instinctual, and we would, but for whatever reason, we would hold people accountable for their actions, but not. We wouldn't say an animal rapes another animal, or an animal eats or murders another. I should have said murder. You know.
But just no praise or blame or whatever. Basically.
Yeah, praise, blame, guilt.
If we don't have free will, then we don't have a choice. We're going to call it how we're going to call it. And even then, that depends on the person and the series of events that's led that person to be that way. Because some people would disagree and they would say that animals do murder each other and we should stop that, while other people would say otherwise because their lives are different and all the different factors that have caused their decisions are completely different. So I would disagree with that in that sense. I still would argue that even animals are the product of their environment. Again, I wouldn't say instincts necessarily, because there are a lot of external factors that can contribute to your choices beyond just your instincts. Because you might have the instinct to do something, but not have the right situation or circumstance to do it. Or you might have an instinct that's stronger than that one, or a bunch of other different things. Anyway, the point is there are way too many factors to calculate, but I think those factors are ultimately what decides our choices and organisms' choices in general. Yeah, I think that's the point I wanted to end on.
So if the cheetah went through a really complicated maze, then we could call it murder.
I think the heart of your argument, Jamie, could be kind of summed with a different kind of analogy, which is if a person killed another person, we would feel very differently than if a bear killed another person. The bear, we wouldn't be like angry at their motivations and incentives to kill in a way that we would attribute
Touché.
to another person. Is that a fair version of
touché?
Okay,
right.
I can understand
Yes,
that.
fair.
As long as
Yeah,
you're
and I would
saying,
even
as long
say
as
it's
that's
probably
a T and not a D in the beginning there. Come on, no laughs.
I got
I'm
you.
definitely being the D. I hope you didn't take it the wrong way. I wasn't trying to be rude, you guys. I was
No,
just
but
trying.
I'm sorry, just to clarify, I was looking at the live chat. Marty pointed out that nobody was listening. I felt genuinely bad, and then you shouted out, "You love the D."
Because I'm a douche, right?
Okay, just making sure. Just making sure.
I'm just trying out being a little bit of a douche. That's all. Yeah.
These are very dry layers. No, well, the fact that you backtracked and you self-corrected in real time like that, Jamie, that shows your integrity. Just wanted to let you know that and say that explicitly.
Can I also point out this has lasted at least 15 minutes longer with zero, I don't want to use the word insults, but point of facts than JG lasted against Marty.
Listen, I am not proud of that moment, but I do have
You
some things
fucking right. I'm not going to say what you texted me afterwards when you showed your partner, but you are damn proud of fucking.
Somebody in this house was very proud of it. I could say that much. I have some things to contribute to this conversation, if you don't mind.
Clearly.
Go on ahead there, Marty. The floor is yours.
All right. So the thought experiment, Ethan, or not Ethan, I'm sorry. Well, Ethan, you explained it very well. Jamie, I'm glad that you brought it to the table. It's already been done, though, in psychology, right? I hear echo in the background.
I will mute because I have turned my volume up. We shall check and see.
Check 1, 2.
Yeah, I figured that it was something like this has been said before. Yeah.
Well, and I mean, and I'm just using that as a springboard to talk about like identical twins studies. And yeah, it is you, Matt. And the identical twin studies, pretty much bear out in real life your thought experiment, right? Identical twins, monozygotic twins, they share the same womb, right? They share the same egg, and that gets inseminated, by two different sperm, or by the same sperm, and then it originally, monozygote. So it starts as
they're
one
Siamese twins, right?
Is
that what Siamese twins are? Is that what Siamese twins are? Matt Pig's Mike's cousin.
No, Siamese twins are actually connected physically.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. Yeah. Sorry,
no. Yeah, that is right. Yeah, that is right. Siamese twins, but regardless, I mean, and they both, and even Siamese twins have two different brains, right? But the thing in psychology is, even in the womb, their chemical and hormonal environments are slightly different. So you never get the philosophically pure identical twins. That's why I honed in on the clone part, because that gets around the different womb environments. Like you just take it and grow them in fucking pardon my language, grow them in petri dishes or outside of the womb or something like that. But anyway, The
You know what? I
identical
think I
twins.
saw that on Closer to Truth, where they brought this up, and I probably was inspired by that. The difference I wanted to make was, well, like you're saying, along that same line, I remember hearing them say they've studied those twins like that are very similar but slightly different, like you described, and then people when they're
Yes.
separated at birth, and then they still like show some interesting overlaps with like just little quirks or like little things, right?
Exactly. And so that hones in on the nature nurture question. And so right now, the understanding, how should I put it? The consensus in psychology is that your genes, the nature part, and also it's never nature versus nurture. It's nature in nurture or the nature of nurture, right? The nature and nurture are always working hand in hand. But it has been shown that for the things that have a genetic influence through heritability, they blossom the older you get. Let me put this differently. So for traits like personality and intelligence, in your childhood and teen, you may be correlated slightly with your parents, but the older you get, the more correlated you get to your parents on scores and of those traits, right? So by the time you're 25, 30, you're more like your parents than you were when you were 20, than when you were 15, than you were 10. And now that I am 50, I am so much like I have grown into my genes, right? Which is
Right.
that I'm more like my parents than I realized.
Now, if I can, am I muted or can anyone hear me? No, you can hear me okay, yeah?
We can hear you.
The bars aren't working. I've taken the bars off. Is the echo
Really
gone?
loud. It's really loud, but the echo's gone.
The echo's
Your
okay.
gain is saturated.
Okay, how's that now that I've moved
Way
the mic
better.
away?
Much better.
Okay.
It'd be slightly louder, just barely though.
You're just a fucking wee yappy asshole, Jamie, aren't you? Let me fucking get my story out, right? I'll be
I
quiet.
need a little 3K.
Hey,
Add
man.
a little 3K, remove a little 300 hertz, and you'd be fine.
I'm not tweaking it in hertz. I'm literally tweaking it in volume, and
There you go, Sonny Jim.
it's
Oh,
already taken
yeah,
longer
okay,
to record
Charles,
the
sorry.
audio than it has for me to get my story out. Marty, you have made the statement there and then that you have grown into your genes. All right. Did you grow up around your father? You are not come from what used to be known as a broken home or a split home. Your parents stayed together your entire childhood, or yes, you grew around your
fortunate
father.
enough to have raised with both of my parents. Yes.
It doesn't, biologically, it doesn't matter. I'm fortunate enough to be raised with my stepfather. I think as of about 4 years ago, he was around longer than my biological father was. Now I'm 39, and we still have our issues. Less than 6 months ago, he threatened to put me in the fucking hospital because he was being a prick, and I called him out on it, and he didn't like it. A man at 62, old school, didn't understand. But anyway, the point is, my mother would be of the opinion, and other people would be of the opinion, that I'm more like him in my mannerisms, in the way that I approach things. I obviously look like my father. I've got the 5 head, I've got the pointy egg-shaped skull.
Oh, yeah.
It's biologically, I'm a good-looking guy. But
You're a damn handsome
I'm more...
beast.
Pardon?
You're a damn handsome beast.
A fine phenotype.
Well, that's since I shaved my head, I'll not show you pictures where I tried to save my fucking ponytail for it. Anyway, point aside, I would be environmentally more like my stepfather, even to the point where when I talk about people at work, I say my father, and my biological father actually works in the same place I work, in the fucking store. And they're like, oh, he did that? And oh, no, not my dad, my stepdad, because I'm in the habit of saying and describing him as my father.
I'm right there with you. I am a stepfather, and my stepchildren have picked up my mannerisms, especially, my son and my middle child. They are 2 very different versions of me. And, we have been a family technically since, Insta family, just add love, 6 years. And, I am not a gamete donor.
6. I think Thomas has been around for about 15, maybe 16. So there's another 10 years on top of that as well, so you can see where I'm going, So I would be definitely a proponent of a little bit more. I don't want to say more. Nurture over nature, definitely a bit.
So here's what I would say. If in following through on some of the questions that were said, like if you were to have an experience happen to these twins, identical twins, and then ask them 100 questions, of course, not all 100 questions are going to be exactly the same, but there is going to be a probability of a high number of them, right, being correlated with each other. But that doesn't mean that they are 100%, right? Just because it's probable, or just because it's possible, doesn't mean that it's probable. And the probability is how statistics work. And statistics are how like real life works. And statistics also account for, the very slight environmental differences and experiences that each of the identical twins may have had. I mean, one of them might be their one parent's favorite, and that garners a very different response from that parent for that child that is super subtle. It's a 1 degree change when they're born that turns into a 20 degree change when they're older.
Yeah, I mean, I have twins, so this is very relevant. And they just turned, they're
awesome.
like 16 months. So
Was that a picture of them earlier?
Yes.
Put it up again if you don't mind.
There you go.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, Luke and Jude. Luke's on the left and Luke's on the right and Jude's on the left.
Do you find
How
them
old are they?
diverging more as they age more, or what could you say about like similarities and differences?
Yeah, they definitely have like completely different personalities in some regards, but it's also like kind of flip-flopped and stuff, like as far as who's like more active or who's more chill. And
Do you make a point, right? I have two questions, okay? I can see from that t-shirt they're both wearing the same top, okay? So is it an active I'm struggling to find the word, maybe Maute can help me. An active actually going out of your way to put them in similar outfits, because it's so easy for you to tell the difference between them. It just confuses people and it's funny. Or, do you put them, can you tell the difference between them? If I rolled them around on the sofa, would you know the difference between them if they were dressed in the exact same and their hair was the exact same? Or do you make a point of, making subtle differences, like cut their hair a wee bit different or slight,
They're identical, but they like Jude is a little bit bigger, so he looks a little different. And I think like in the NICU, they were in the NICU for a while. They were born pretty premature, and like they're fine now. But the CPAP machine that he had to wear, Jude had to wear it a lot longer, and I think it like affected the shape of his head a tiny bit and stuff like that. So
yeah.
like they look pretty. I can tell them apart.
Yeah, so there is that subtle environment.
Yeah.
So, as they grow up, other people in school or whatever and their friends may not be able to tell the difference, but because of that very small thing, as a father, that's what you would pick out.
Yeah, we don't
Elena had a
same.
very bad habit of not moving when she slept as a child. Just after she was born, she had to be put in an incubator for a wee while, She had jaundice, and she had a very bad habit of always sleeping, we're going to say right hand side, looking to her right, and it completely flattened one side of her head. And I was very panicky about this, and I was like, right, will we get one of the helmets? Will we, as you said, whatever.
Jude had the helmet.
Yeah, will we get one of them? Will we do that? Whatever, and all the rest of it. And her mother said to me, look, if you want to fucking go and do it and go and get that done, fine. But I'm not going to go to the fucking doctor with you, because she'll get older and she'll roll out of it and it'll be fine. And she did. So we didn't, but I worried more about it than she did. Like, man, it was a complete fucking flat spot. As you worry about these things with kids. Marty understands, there's an attachment. This is something I wanted to talk to you about, Marty, and it's not my challenge. Remember I asked you to have a private offline, right? I'm going to try and describe it. What age did you say your kids were, Ethan?
They're like a year and a half.
Right, year and a half. I'm assuming, because you're in a good relationship with your partner. And I'm struggling to remember your partner's name. What is your partner's name?
Trish.
Trish. Fuck's sake, I should have remembered that.
Trish,
good. Right? You were lucky enough to be the motherfucker that drove them to the hospital and be there and hold their hand and get called every non-Christian name under the sun while they're giving birth. Yes.
Yeah, well, she did a C-section in it, like so.
You were there.
Yeah, I was right there. Yeah.
Right. Whenever Elena's mother was given birth, they induced the birth because they were worried about some medical things. So they induced it. She was born on the Tuesday, but they were inducing from the Sunday morning, right? So there was between Sunday and Monday afternoon, like 7 phone calls. This is it. Maybe this is it. I don't know. This is it. You know. So when it actually did happen, I don't want to say it's like crying wolf, but she took it as I'm not sure. So 5 hours, 6 hours into it, where it usually dissipates, there was another medical thing. And it's like, no, this one's not fake. This is where the baby's coming. So that's when she rang me, which was 5, 6 hours into it. And as Elena was born, I lived at that time, I wasn't driving such a fast car and it was at night time. So it took me over 2.5 hours to get there, waiting for my mother to drive from where she lived to my house. And then from my house, then to that. From my mum's is 2.5 hours. So there was this gap. And I arrived at the hospital just as the child was born. You know, we were broke up during the pregnancy. We were having issues because it was a very early relationship. So I was there for all the doctor's appointments, but I didn't get the first kick. You know, I didn't get that connection. I didn't get it, the belly growing bigger and, you know, crawling up behind your partner and hugging them at nighttime and that sort of thing because we were separated at the time. But as I arrived at the hospital and I walked in through the front door, that's the point I'm making. My child was born, right? Her mother rang me because her mother was there during the pregnancy and says, your daughter just arrived. And I was like, I just fucking arrived. So I got to go in and the mother had, because it was, I don't want to say rushed, but because it was induced, she had 2nd stage, 3rd stage, 3-degree tear, like, you know, the worst. I just flew out of you. We're not coming out and then we're flying out. And she was, I think, 3.5 hours to 4 hours in surgery afterwards. And they left me alone with a brand new, so to speak, all alone baby that's just been born that I've had, I would say, limited pre-pregnancy connection with, right? So I understand my point. I understand my reasoning. I understand why I'm here. And I feel obligated. I've been in a relationship for 10 years before that. Before this relationship, I had taken a year off. I'm in the mindset, I want a baby. I know I'm going to have a wee ginger girl. I want me, my daughter. And this just happened. So I understand my obligation. But I don't. This is the point, Marty, aimed at you from a psychology point of view. There's the feeling of love and there's the feeling of obligation. And I discussed this with a very close friend of mine at the time, but it took me about 2.5 months to 3 months to feel the love of a father over the obligation of a father. If you understand what I mean, you know, from my past experiences and shit and how I understand love and this and not being there for the connection, you know, doctor's appointments, yes, and yeah, you know, all that. But
you were thrown into a situation that was behavioral and autopilot, and then when you had a moment to be mindful and reflect on it, and even when you didn't, like these are the things that aren't the conscious. These are the irrational things that guide our choices. These are the moments that wag the dog by the tail, right? It just comes along. Next thing you know, you can't.
It makes me feel bad, though, to a certain point, where I don't want to say that it's a hollow emotion or a hollow thing, but I know obligation is, you know, obligation is hollow, so to speak. Like for talk's sake, making an analogy, it's running up to our big giant break at work in the factory. So boys are starting to fuck about and mess around and all the rest of it. One of the guys got caught the other day drawing a dick on one of the walls, right? So they made the fucker paint the whole fucking wall. They were giving shit, you know, they were messing around out the back spray cannon, and he drew a penis on the wall to make a joke against one of the other guys, and it was caught on camera, so they made him paint the entire fucking wall properly, not with the spray can, you know. So there's obligation to the reaction and the actions that you make, you know. We had sex, these things happen. Some fathers run away. I'm not one of them guys. There's an obligation that I'll stick to, but the emotional attachment was difficult. It was hard. I don't want to say hard. I felt emotionally stinted. It's like, I need to be here. I'm maybe 2 hours into being left alone. She hadn't moved in like 40 minutes. So I poked her and woke her back up again. It was like, are you alive? I can't be
You're allowed to be confused in confusing situations, and you're allowed to admit that you're confused. That's okay.
Yeah, I can totally resonate with that though too, but like differently, because so when these guys were born, they were born at 30 weeks. They were like 2 pounds, 4 ounces, 2 pounds,
Wow.
9 ounces or something. I mean, they were tiny. So first off, we didn't even get to hold them for like 2.5 days or 2 days before we even held them.
Can you tell me the time and the date as well?
They were born at it was March 21st is their birthday or whatever. It was like 4:30 in the afternoon. So we didn't hold them, and that was like on a Friday. So we didn't hold them till like almost Monday or something like that.
I've asked certain fathers and they don't know that. So the fact that you can tell me the time and the date and their weight, I think that sort of shows what sort of a father you are.
But it was, but the part I can really resonate with though is like after that, just having to leave the hospital and leave them there. I mean, they were in the hospital for 3 months.
Yeah.
And we went home every night. We didn't sleep at the hospital. I mean,
even Trish didn't get to stay.
She did like twice, 2 nights, but I mean, most of the time it just she maybe more than that. She might have done it, but she would stay really late and get there really, really early and stay most of the day.
But they were kept separate for you. There wasn't an option to have like a little cot beside them. They were
they were in a room with like 6 other babies with the lights always on and stuff.
Yeah, but that makes sense then. Go home and get your fucking sleep. You're just been through, I wouldn't say a traumatic experience, but you've just been through something. You need to get your fucking rest, So I can understand.
I mean, they were still in the hospital and I was going back to work.
Yeah.
And so, so it was just weird. It's like weird to like have to make that decision to leave. You know what I mean? Like you want to as a dad, just like, no, they can come home, but like just having to leave every single day. So it definitely like
there was one night. There was one night just on that topic, and I'm sorry, I'm an asshole. I know it's 420's channel, but there was one night. There is a double set of doors, as in 2 doors, and then there's a little area, and then there's another set of doors in the hospital. That the child, I scared him off. In the hospital, that the child's mother now. As I said, she was jaundiced, so she was put in what was known as an incubator or whatever, and all the rest of it. According to the older people, we just put them in the windowsill and let them get some sun, right? But I would stay very late. Now I was staying in her parents' house in the spare room, to be close to her during and I think Elena was in hospital, and her mother was allowed to stay because it was an incubator they could push beside the hospital bed. But there was one particular night that I went to the vending machine and the doors used to stick open, but when I went back in again, it closed, and I literally get trapped in this little square with a double set of automatic doors. But after 11 o'clock, the button, to open them doesn't work because it's all closed down. You can't get in, and the reception is like, 50 fucking beds away from me. I'm stuck there for like 30 minutes, 40 minutes to some nurses coming and checking on the old people at the door or at this area. But let me out. Yeah. And that was my story. Sorry.
It's okay. We, when my eldest son was born, was in an older hospital, and they had this old wooden lift. What do you call them? Elevators. And it was real, like it had a cage door and everything, We get in, push the button, we start going up, and the idiot guy that we were with noticed that because it was older, there was a trap door that wasn't locked in the ceiling, and he's given a little push, and of course the lift just stopped dead. And we're pressing all the buttons and nothing's happening. So we're on the phone to our partners, mine who's in bed with a newborn baby. We're stuck in the lift. We had to wait in that lift for an hour, and it was tiny.
Yeah.
So the lift people came, and they pulled the doors open, and we were halfway between stories. And they've said, look, if we can't get it going, we're gonna have to like pull you up through the gap. And
If
they
you
said,
didn't
"Have
reenact Die Hard when they pulled you up through the gap, we can't be friends anymore.
Yeah. Well, thankfully, they said, have you touched anything in there? And my mate was like, yeah, I touched the trapdoor in the ceiling. And they're like, is it still open? And we looked, and it was still ajar.
Use
And all we
fools.
had to do was pull it shut, and the lift started again. It was just a
Use
safety
fools.
thing.
So for an hour, you were stuck there because of an inch.
Yep.
That's what she
Because
said.
of a fucking idiot who couldn't keep his hands to himself and had to play with shit. So,
Idle hands
lesson-
are the devil's playground.
yeah.
Skeptic unmuted. Hasn't spoken in a while. Let Skeptic go. And then Marty's been stirring directly. I don't know if it's working out, but directly at 420. Upwards.
Yeah. As a local resident of hell, I can say that the Devil's Playground is actually right down the street. Yeah, I don't have children, so I don't actually, I cannot relate to these experiences, but in my basically having a memory defect, I've had the obligatory issue of people that I should know having grown up that I just don't remember. And I feel like I should, and I should have those kinds of family connections to them, but I have nothing, and they have all of these memories of me that I can't remember. So that's it. That's the extent to which I can relate to basically everything that's being said. I know it's not the same because I'm not a parent, but I've felt that in the sense of like, well, this is my aunt, or this is my cousin, or this is this person, and I should feel this kind of way towards them, but I just don't know them. So most of my family is basically strangers besides my like actual parents.
Yeah, well, I have that and I don't have that. It's a good example. I have cousins who we will refer to as their surname as H, fathers marry and stuff like that. But their mother and my father are brother and sister, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I have another one who's my mum and her sister. Well, yeah, a mum and the brothers. Now, them two families, as in, my cousins on that side that end in H are close to my cousins that end with S. But I'm close with each one individually. No, but I'm close with H. I'm not close with S. So if we're in a family group, there's H, S, and me. Them two are bantering away, but I don't really get on with H. So I'm trying to have a conversation with H, but I don't like S. And I understand what you're saying. So there's that side of my family that I don't talk to. There's that side of my family I don't get along with. There is also a small group of my family that I do. Most people think they're assholes because they speak their mind, but that's maybe why I anyway. Yeah,
that's mostly just my entire family, and it's only slightly different because I just don't know them and they know me, so it's always that awkward thing of like, they know me, they have the connections on their side, and I just don't because I don't know them.
Yeah,
and I should, but I don't know. The memory just don't work.
Yeah, like family S would say to me, "Oh, I heard about you doing that," because they heard about it through H, because I told H because I'm friendly with H. But when S says it to me, I'm like, I don't like you knowing this information because I don't know you good enough for you to know that I did that. Like I would be comfortable with H and we'll take it to an extreme, and I would tell cousin H, I streaked up through the middle of the estate with not a stitch on me. It was funny. Everybody went mad while the fireworks were going off. But if S knew that, there's no hope I would tell them that. And if they said that to me, I would feel uncomfortable because they knew that, because I know they're like a stuck-up sort of family. But they know that because H told them, because they're close.
Mm-hmm.
So I understand where you're coming from in a really... Yep, I'm going to be quiet because
I sort of can't relate to any of it, unfortunately. Because I'm third generation fucking Jehovah's Witness on both sides of my family. So my family are all freaks as far as I'm concerned. And even the ones who don't shun me, I kind of shun them because anytime
Shun's a
you
bad
attend-
word. They're making a choice to get rid of you. You choose not to interact with them because they
Yeah, I
are
don't
shunning.
shun them. That was a very lazy thing to say. But the only interactions that they'll have with me is trying to get me to repent and come back to the religion. So
Yeah,
I
it's not
don't.
how is your weekend going? Did you enjoy going to the park with your son? It's like, did you
Yeah.
take your son to Sunday school?
Yeah.
You know, yeah.
You know, Jehovah will forgive you. You know, for what? What are you saying? Like, I'm bad.
There's
I'm a
one of
bad
the streams,
person.
Maute, on 420's channel, where there's a group of us and go into the guilt that they aim for a Jehovah Witness's child eating not a piece of cake, but a cupcake at a birthday party, and how his father made him feel guilty and how it was bad against Jehovah for eating a cupcake, not even a piece of cake, at someone else's birthday.
And more, and even worse, the poor kid didn't actually eat it. He got some
Yeah.
on his nose. It was the thought that he wanted to eat it that was the guilt. Just
That's right. He didn't
wanting
even
to eat
fucking
the
eat the
fucking
goddamn
thing.
thing.
That's and so for people who say, "Oh, why do you pick on them? Leave them be." You know, they're generally lovely people. Absolutely, they are. The fucking organized religion itself is pure evil and is literally traumatizing children, you know, on a daily basis. Traumatizing. So,
I see traumatizing is I would say more of a hindsight thing because the child it's more of an and I hate the word
I
indoctrination.
don't know.
How do you right here's a psychologist,
See,
right? Give
when
me a
I
word.
was when I
Give me a
was
word. Hold
standing
on.
in,
Delay. There you go. Right. Give me a word that combines indoctrination and what was that one you said there? 420.
traumatized.
Traumatize. How do you indoctrination and traumatization? Combine the two words and give me one.
So my give you one
Not you,
word.
you fucker. The guy that's actually paid for an education.
Oh, okay. So before he does,
Yeah, it's his
just
channel. I can still
In
do that. It's great.
traumatization.
You fucking had to slip TikTok in there. What's going on?
I mean, because it's poison.
Oh, no, it makes sense.
I can tell you, Matt Pig, in that
Indoctrinized.
moment when I was standing in front of my friend's door, knocking on the door, knowing they're going to open that door and I'm going to have to fucking talk this shit that I don't believe, and that then I'm going to go to school on Monday and get absolutely picked on and possibly physically bashed because I'm a weirdo. That's fucking traumatizing in the moment. That's
Yes.
one of the not even hindsight ones. Like, that's traumatizing in the fucking moment. Traumated. There you go. Nerdy.
Gird up your loins, boy.
Dominated.
You probably do you hear
Nerd-
that one?
Nerdy, are you using Dolly Mini? Sorry, Dolly 2 Mini, or did you actually get the invite? I'm still in the waiting list myself, but
By the way, I typed in Google. I typed in the Grim Reaper riding a shark, and that's what I found.
oh, I typed in intro and this and the red and black and the rest of it, and I got the Grim Reaper swinging around with his scythe, and when he hits the ground, I can add an icon, and I obviously added the Math Pig icon, but it's pretty cool. I don't know. Let me see if I can do this on his stream.
All I'm saying is I have the legal ownership of any and all skeleton memology, so all of these things should be deferred to me.
No problem. No worries. No problem.
Just if we're clarifying, then that's all right. As long as we're clarifying, making sure.
Well, then surely Robbie
So
has
you're
all
clear.
rights to anything pig related.
That too.
Yeah. Yep.
Hey, did
Oh,
Jehovah's Witnesses eat pork? I didn't think they did.
hey, leave my
There's
ass
no-
out of this shit.
There's
Yeah,
no food. They don't have any food
Oh yeah,
restrictions.
that's right. Because they go to church on Sunday too, right?
Yeah.
Right,
I would like to just add really quick. While I can acknowledge the harm that is caused by some religions and the structures, I'm a big believer that nothing is immune to criticism. So while that can be a fine motivation to criticize certain ideas, I don't necessarily need that motivation. If I find an idea problematic or disagreeable, to me, that is enough to stand up to it. And I don't think that we should need a requirement to go after ideas.
Well
So
said.
that's just my thing, because the moment we have an idea that's immune to criticism, that's too holy, that's too sacred, that is the moment where I think we lose our ability to learn and grow and expand past that point.
Yeah, that's gets a little. I could be controversial right now if I wanted to be, but no, I tend to agree with you. I mean, I usually just hate everybody, and then that covers their ideas too. So
But you see that's very something similar to I think Mao Te would agree with me in this as Fabio.
Mao
Well,
Maudi.
it's an exaggeration because somebody actually pronounced his name quite recently on the stream as Mao Te, which came close.
Maudi. I think I know who did that.
You know the fighting thing. You know.
I know the guy who did that.
Yeah, it's Marty. Yeah, it's Marty. Yeah, it was JG. Yeah, I think it was JG.
Is that French? And I was joking, by the way. I don't hate people. I love them.
On Sundays, only on Sundays.
I actually think I offended Fabio earlier, right? Which I didn't mean to do, right? Oh yeah, see, Mao Te is making this face, right? Because Fabio, in my opinion, would be a Sith Lord. Everybody's an asshole, and you all get treated this way until you prove yourself different, you know. And yeah, I think that's a paraphrase of things that he said. Marty's not even listening. I'm directly talking to him.
I was serious about the lenses, or I mean the glasses frames. I really like those glasses frames. I'm curious what they are.
You're going to make me say bad things again.
You're listening. They're Ray-Bans. You didn't offend Fabio. I have family. This is dadding right here. Multitasking all you fucking
I was
children.
only asking, do I need to repeat it? You did hear me. Right?
I don't know.
And
why
I said
you
to
think
Fabio,
Go ahead.
I said to Fabio, it's really quiet. There's just me and Skeptic on the channel at this time, you know? And I was like, you should jump in as a troll. And he was like, he quoted my message. And then he was like, I think I'll pass. And I was like, you know, I was making a joke about you because you're always so nice. And then he was quiet for like an hour. And I was like, oh, did I offend him? I thought he was aware of the fact that he's a Sith Lord.
Wait, who's a Sith Lord?
Everyone's an asshole.
Who's Sith Lord?
Fabio.
Who's
oh, I didn't do that. No, that was totally not me. He just left. He just went Fabio. And then
Gone with the wind.
No, I don't go to church on Sunday. I go to church today.
You see, why do you feel that is necessary? There's a question for you. And another one, I'll back it up, right? Do you think the people that you go to church with, or are you aware of the people that you go to church with, agree with, will give a good 95% of what you believe? Do your beliefs align with your church? Are you a heretic there? That's a lot of questions, but you get the persona.
Of course not. No.
He's a weirdo. He left too.
Doesn't matter. No, I didn't even go to church.
Frank Turek.
Right, he's playing Frank Turek. I actually thought that was that movie where your guy gets out of his car and walks like the 50-mile home to the ex-wife's house to see the child and ends up picking guns up on the way home. What do you call that movie? You know the movie 420?
No.
Nice. That looks like.
Sorry, I was distracted by Odine's message. What was the movie? Describe it.
The movie is where a guy is driving home. He gets stuck in a traffic jam. He's having a breakdown. The wife is divorcing him. He's
Breakdown.
Is it Breakdown? Where he Michael Douglas. Yeah, it's Breakdown.
Yeah, that's actually a great movie. Yeah.
Pardon?
Fantastic movie.
Yeah, he literally snaps. He walks home. He just literally wants to go and see his daughter, and people keep getting in his way.
I like when he fights those two gangbangers or like that Nazis. Give it to me. Give it to me. Give it to me.
The Nazis insane. It's like, you want to come out the back and see one of the empty tanks that gassed people? No, but I'll go back there so I can steal your camo and guns. So Mao Te is back. Mao Te had a point.
Yes, my Wi-Fi got not my Wi-Fi, but my Google went wacky.
Artie was supposed to join.
my
Are you aware of Artie Mao Te?
Where's the glasses, bro?
I got them right here.
He's sending them to you, Jamie.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I just put them in the mail. That's what I was doing just
You
now.
took that in the sexual nature.
Well,
as well.
I'm legally blind, so I don't think they'll work for me. I'm like
Oh,
7.25 and something. To
These
buy
are the
one.
old man glasses.
Yeah.
The transitions,
I am
the
not going to
progressives,
tell you how
everything's-
bad. I have not been able to buy new glasses in 3.5 years, and my glasses, I have bought the same frames the last 4 times. So for the last 10 years, I've been wearing like the same. And if the left arm breaks, you put them aside, you take the other one out. Then the right arm breaks. That's all right. Put that one up and took the third one. Yeah, these glasses that I'm wearing now are made of welding wire, insulation tape, and a leg off one set, a right leg off the other, and a frame off the front, where I've put the lenses in from a different pair of glasses. And the wee nose plastic bit broke off the front. You know, the bit that rests on your nose to keep it, up.
Yeah.
So the left one, from my perspective, the plastic bit broke off, so it was uncomfortable. So I took the grinder and I ground both of them off. So if I move fast now, I feel like a 60-year-old professor, because it slips down that 2 inches where you have to look at people over the top of your glasses. It's like, I can't help it. I'm just broke. It's just like.
I'm not gonna lie, I half expected you to say you threw some adamantium and vibranium in there with the amount of work you did on those glasses.
I swear to fuck, man, it is so many. It's like Frankenstein glasses. It is. You just. I've done it so. I've done it as a mirror image to each other. So the one on the left doesn't need as much insulation tape as the one on the right, but I've put the same amount on. So when you look at it from the left-hand side, I've stretched it and flashed it with the lighter so it's smooth, and then there's a line, so you don't actually notice. It becomes part of. I am. Boom. You mother. Where's that? That's the living room, is it? Yeah, that's the living room, man. That's an old video.
It's just the
Nice.
random one I found where you had your camera on. I just randomly searched it just now.
Oh, no. If you're going to do it, right, if you're going to imitate me, I'll send you this link, and you can save this link, right? Thank, will we say it? Yeah, it's on 420s. He won't watch it out of spite. Titan Uranus made this, right? Don't anyone tell him I said his name on stream, right? Let me see if I can find this. Oh, that's funny, because Jody sent me a picture of her magic.
Jamie's
No.
doing a debate tonight or something. You mentioned him.
Oh yeah, we should. Jamie, I made that as a joke. If you actually refresh, I did try to edit it straight afterwards to
Oh, it
match
won't work.
exactly.
I didn't even see what channel. This is your channel, 420 Atheist, right? Is that right?
Yep.
Excuse me. Sorry, I was yawning.
Is that
Oh,
our,
I got to find your channel here.
is that
Type
our-
in 420 atheist, but don't put any space in it, man. Don't put a space.
Yeah, I'll
Type
just,
420 atheist with no space.
Just
I'm
put
a
it in
little
the chat.
confused. Are those the debate topics that
Got
we're going on to, or is Jamie doing a separate debate?
No, I'm debating a guy on my channel later,
Are
like
those the debate
in like
topics
7
that we're going on to? Oh,
Ethan, this is
I
the,
wasn't gonna look for this. I'm sure I knew I could find
What's
it.
this?
somehow, but no one needs
This-
to see this.
this is what I did. In 2 weeks, it'll be my birthday, right? It'll also
oh,
be
I
the
remember
channel's-
this.
Yeah, it'll be the channel's 4-year anniversary. And it'll be my birthday. I'll be 39. And when I was 38 for the stream, this was the setup. It wasn't just as good. You can still see the ball breaker and all the rest, but mess. Wasn't as great. And Amber bought me a particular thing for my birthday.
Just play it. It's easier just to play it.
There you go.
Have you
Oh,
posted the poll yet, Math Pig?
what poll? I'm still waiting for you to buy the outfit.
Which one am I buying? I thought we had to do the poll to get.
I told
that-
you that I thought you were originally going to buy a skin tight one.
But which color? The poll was what color?
I can't remember the answer to the poll. I
You
said
were
it.
very drunk. So you were going to do a poll.
A
on
half hour
Twitter.
late. I was a half hour fucking late for work the next day. My dad had to ring me and wake me up going, do you realize you're 20 minutes late for work? Or sorry, do you realize you're 10 minutes late for work? Funny, motherfucker. Yeah. That's
No,
yeah.
well, let
We're
me
20.
remind you. So I'm going to buy a skin tight suit for Math Pig for his birthday and his channel's birthday.
Yes, I remember. No, I remember that.
Oh,
I
Black
just-
Widow.
We're doing it. We need to choose what color.
Black Widow suit with the wig.
Oh no, it's do you know them skin tight suits?
Yeah, like Black Widow.
Yes, I think there was talk of me actually cutting my eyes and mouth out so I could make some random faces as well.
She,
Right? And Jody was also then going to buy me something different for New Year's. I do remember this.
Yeah.
you could just paint your body, shave and then paint your body. No,
I
420
always-
is the different. Tell me if I'm correct on this. The Jehovah's Witnesses, like if you're not one of the saved people, whether it be one of the 144,000 or elsewhere, or the other saved people, when you die, you don't get resurrected again. Isn't that right?
So no, you do get resurrected again.
Everybody does. Everybody does. Okay, then
Everyone who, but sorry, it's very conditional. So everyone who hasn't heard about God and rejected Him already, because to be universally fair, you have to know God to say no to God, to then be judged for it. Whereas if you, but the Jehovah's Witnesses believe that from soon after the first church was started by, just after Christ, that until very recently, 1914, in fact, that God in Christ was lost to the world and nobody knew who the real God was. And in 1914, Jesus invisibly came to earth and chose the Jehovah's Witnesses to represent his kingdom on earth. So there's that period for the last 2,000 years where nobody knew God. So they all have to be resurrected, to be told about God, to be given the chance to then.
right. Okay. Well,
reject.
they came out of the great disappointment? So why did they say Jesus came invisibly or something? I forget what their answer was.
Invisibly.
Yes, he came invisibly in 1914, which is also the
70
time
years
that
after 1844.
That's correct. And that's also when Satan was cast from heaven.
Only then.
Only then.
See, that's a mistake.
Until
because
then,
all the language
he
about Michael
could
and
go back and back in between.
Oh, so he wasn't cast from
It's
heaven.
funny, dude. I hear people bring that up all the time. If you look at the story, like there's like this meta story that like runs through the Bible about like Satan and Mike, he's fighting Michael, and it's like it runs through Daniel and it's in Revelation. I think there's a few other hints at it elsewhere. And I just look at that as like kind of like this meta heavenly story going on. Like
A
people
Facebook
try to
heaven?
they make it too specific. Like, oh, it mentions it in Revelation 12, which is seems to be talking around Jesus' birthday, but it
No
also
spoilers. I haven't got the Revelation 12 with Richard yet. Sorry to interrupt. I'm only at 9. He's had to do
Something
it
tells
off.
me that what Jamie's about to say is not the same as what Richard's going to say, but
No.
that's just a wild guess. Just
No spoilers. Yeah.
I've talked to Richard a few times, but yeah,
I was awake. I'm awoke back up again. Sorry. Got a little
I like
excited.
Richard. He says some weird stuff. He's got some weird ideas.
Mhm.
Interesting, but weird. Revelation 12 is probably the coolest chapter in the Bible.
I'm really hoping. Oh, my bars are back. Let me know. I'm trying to tweak it here. I've been doing some settings. Is there an echo? Is it back? Jamie, you were the main proponent of hearing
No,
it.
you sound great. You
That
sound
sounds
great.
good now.
Perfect.
Sound good to me.
Yeah, no, I'm waiting for the acid trip. Like I keep hearing acid trip, acid trip, acid trip, acid trip. You know, I can understand the symbolism. That's the point. I'm seeing more symbolism than I'm seeing the atheist meme of a guilt trip, or sorry, not a guilt trip, an acid trip,
Acid trip.
which screams to me, are you
So
repeating what atheist apologetics is, or did you actually read the fucking thing? Like I
yeah,
read
but you
the
haven't
entire
got to
Bible
the
from
part
start to
where
finish.
he's describing the or have you? Because I seem to remember Richard
But when
saying,
we were talking with Richard, Richard described what was happening in his persona, right? As a more so as a play. His analogy that he used was a play. Not that you're freaking out in this, that, and the other, that you were physically taken to a place where you witnessed a previous Jesus play the position that you're going to play in what's coming up in the apocalyptic world on your earth. So it was a play about what did happen and what's going to happen. So what happens is going to be slightly different, but will be the same basic storyline. You know, you have an earthquake, buildings fall down. That's always going to be the story. But you can watch some person falling down a flight of stairs. You can watch a person stuck in an elevator. You know, all these different stories. But the main premise is earthquake that fell. So he's watching a play of the main storyline of what happened on a previous Earth, and that's how he described it to me. And to that, that was very clear and concise, and I could visualize that because he did say to premise it, there was a, you know, you're not on an island tripping your balls out. This island was a gateway to access to the spaceships, paraphrasing as fuck. Watch the episodes, right?
and I think the reason that it takes away from that acid trip type thing that you're getting at is because Richard's version has explained away the more supernatural side of things. He's made it very possible and
Right.
scientific. Bunch of aliens in a spaceship. It's possible.
Okay, right.
Whereas when you look at it
And
from the actual original Hebrew and that, it like this dude being taken up to heaven to see God, who's this bright ball, and angels are balls of feathers with fucking eyes all around them.
right. Well,
That
as
shit
as one of
is
the
an
only
acid
other
trip.
person who spent as much fucking time talking to Richard as me, so I can shorthand it, and I say words you understand interpretation, as in Richard's, right? But with his explanatory power of being concise with the aliens, I do see overlaps, which we both agree on. And then there's that unlisted video, you know, and there's these things and the contradictions that appear because of it. Now, they're less known contradictions because, you know, I keep saying, what the fuck? I'm really drunk. We will say you're using the same justification to a Christian over and over again, regardless of what they're using in the Bible, because it's pointing out the same thing. Okay. Being a meme atheist, right? An
Yeah,
online,
but
right?
dude,
If I can just finish my phrasing, man, because I don't lose my train of thought,
fine.
right?
I'll allow it.
Oh, thank you.
Just
But wait. No.
Oh no, fucking lost it now, and it's Ethan's fault because he said that. It's all you were okay, Jamie, but Ethan made me lose my train of thought. Go on ahead, Ethan.
No, I was just kidding. I didn't have anything to say. I was just messing with you.
No, I'm just going to make that right. There's different inconsistencies that don't appear until you poke holes in it. Okay, so the same sort of thing happens as in a means to an end. When you find the inconsistencies, I'm going to give up. When you can find them things in Richards, it's harder to find, but the result is the same. It does boil down to the God of the gaps. The difference is he explains the God of the gaps because they have a button with a metal technology. They're not as apparent because of his consistent nature of his breakdown, but they are still there. And I'm done.
Okay, so here's the thing with Richard. So I don't care who you are and how smart you are, and he's very smart and consistent and dedicated and likable in a lot of ways most of the time. It doesn't matter though. If you totally and fully reject scholarship because you think they're all just tainted like all the way down the line. That's just a mistake. So yeah, he has, you know, he has his truth. You have your version. I might know. There's certain things that like intelligent, reasonable people will study about it and go, yeah, that's obviously, you know, most of what's going on here. Like with some room, especially in apocalyptic literature, to say like, yeah, we don't know for sure if that's like future too, and if it's supposed to be a double prediction or already but not yet or whatever. But like if you totally ignore it, then you're going to take something that you have no idea is like a polemic or like, you know, a cultural thing that you know nothing about, and it's being applied in the, you know, written to that time person. You got to understand it's written to them at their time, and then you have to take that to apply it to yourself in the context. And if you're not aware of those sorts of things, you're just going to totally mess it up. And sure enough, that's what happens.
In your opinion. I always say this because Richard is a factor between me and Sammy. You know, we all bounce between each other. It's just very hard to get the three of us together because Richard's so busy at the minute. And I don't like discussing his beliefs when he's not here. And every time I do it, and then I say, let's not, and then we do another 5 minutes, and then we feel bad, and then we stop. But I always like having Richard here because he is very nuanced. But I am in agreement with you on our... Oh my God, did he just pop in? No, it's Bree. Oh my goodness, I thought Richard just popped in. It was like, oh, you're all assholes. Oh, hold on. Right. Can you paint me like your French girl?
Hello.
Porn bombed. We just got porn bombed.
My God, yeah, you're a little bit too gorgeous to be on screen. Thank you.
They're talking to you.
The last two pictures you sent me, your hair's been tied back, so I haven't seen how long it's got.
Yeah. My sister-in-law did my hair today. She did my makeup too. You see, it's kind of dark in here, but you can kind of see. She spent a long time on it. She's really good. We're going on a float trip tomorrow, so it's going to be good stuff.
So who are you holding there?
This is my Brachypelma. Is this Bohemi? It's a
Behemoth. You come on the stream dressed like that and start hanging on to things called behemoth. All right, go on ahead.
Bohemi or Bohemi.
Oh, Bohemi. Sorry, that makes it all better, right? No implication, right?
Isn't it cute though? Look at it putting its little arms up to feel its ways around.
Elena caught a moth in the living room Friday night, and she was like, "Daddy, what do you call this?" And I was like, "A grey and white moth." And she's like, "Cool, I love that." And then it fucking flew away, and she went chasing it. Yeah, grey and white moth. Can you guess why?
Why?
I wanted to say peppered moth, but it was like 4 mil long, 5 mil. Oh, it's maybe 2 centimeters long. So small. It's a house. It's a wee moth, you know. We can't have big moths over here because the rain knocks them down.
As it should.
Yeah. We get huge moths over here. They're as big as the birds.
What's a moth? What's a moth?
Moth?
I'm being facetious. Sorry, Wildheart's been picking on me all night because we were in a hangout earlier and he kept asking Elena specific words to say. And would be like, yeah, see how she's saying it correctly? No, you say car. Motherfucker.
So I just left Ger's stream to come over here and hang out with you guys. What are you talking about?
Ger was streaming.
Ger's streaming.
Is that why my fucking viewers? Is Ger still streaming?
Still streaming right now. They had him and Rage are having a row. Actually, there's a spider too, Sammy. Rage kind of blew up at us last night, all of us, in Ger's streams, and then went and did a stream about it. Aw. We just look up different spider filters for your filters.
Yeah.
Oh, see.
I like this one. He's cute. He kind of looks like
Mine's
a huntsman a little bit.
Oh.
Yes, yours is real.
It's got some beautiful eyes.
Oh.
Beautiful eyes.
There's Danny. There's Jason. There's
Mhm.
Ogre who left my server and all there the other day. Oh, Maynard's dick just turned up. That's lovely. And there's
Danny's in there.
Rage must have just left.
Rage was in there.
No, Rage must have left. I don't see Rage.
Oh no, Rage wasn't in there tonight. We were talking
You
about
said
Rage.
Rage and Gerb arguing.
Yeah, they were last night.
Oh, last. Oh.
And then Rage did a stream about it after that, and then Jay did a stream about it until this morning.
Right.
I went over and hung out with Jay
Right,
last night. About
this is
3
the
a.m.
crack, right? I'm going to say this because I know that Rage won't watch this unless someone tells him. So if Rage watches this, I'm blaming one of you fuckers on here. Probably 420 or Ethan. Yeah, I'm going to go for one of you, right? So you should have let him know, right? Ethan's went black. Raging Atheist's content is him joining other people's streams and then uploading it and talking about what happened.
Right.
That
Except for painting himself as the hero of the situation, but
you said that. I didn't.
I'm
I
saying
made an objective comment.
let Rage come at me. I said that in Gur's stream too. I am Rage's friend, and when I tell him he needs to stop and behave and fucking check himself when someone comes in and says that they lost a friend, their friend died that day, and he wants to go off on them about God knows fucking what while they're dealing with that. You don't treat people that way. I don't care if it's your worst enemy. He needs to answer to that, and I'm gonna say that. So,
as a really good friend of Knock, I want to say this, and this is to Knock, so this isn't behind his back. I hope he does see this.
Hold on, I hit record and send it to him on a Twitter DM. Go.
Yeah, he was trying to make the point after the fact in his stream that emotions shouldn't come into the conversation.
Wow.
That's fine to say that when you're having a debate with somebody. When you're in a stream and a person just comes in who is suffering in that moment and you completely dismiss that, that's fucked up, dude. And that's the part you missed. Like, I watched the whole thing. I watched Rage's whole review, and other than when Jason did unfairly sort of tell Rage to shut up in a moment that everyone was screaming, I could not see Rage. I could not see, bro, where everyone was making you the bad guy. I'm worried that you're going down a dark rabbit hole that's not completely based in reality. And I would love to have a chat with you one-on-one privately about it, because I'm really worried, dude. And that's all I want to say.
I had invited Amanda in there because she had been mourning Hops all day. I'm like, hey, there's this stream going on. Susan was in there, and Susan's her friend. And I'm like, my roboting. I think I was roboting for a second. Anyway, Susan's her friend and stuff. So I'm like, come on in here, hang out with good people.
1 2 1 2. If you take a deep breath, 1 2 1 2. You need an icon, and then go 1 2 1 2, and then your bandwidth will catch up, and then come back again, and you should be fine.
Okay, that better? Yeah, I try to get the Ethernet to work here. I'm not. You'll have to get some help with it.
Yeah, it's the bandwidth collection. So if you go icon, it buffers and then it catches up.
Anyway, yeah, but I'm too hot to not be on camera. But I invited her in there because of that, and the way that the reaction that happened there, I felt bad that I even asked her to come in.
Someone explained to me, because all I heard was Manda come into somewhere bad reaction. I missed the pretense. What happened?
Rage kind of went off on her. I don't know. He said she was talking shit about him and stuff, and she didn't know what the hell he was talking about. I don't know.
Amanda has a low opinion of Rage. I don't know if she may have been talking shit, but I don't think her opinion. Like, my opinion of Rage is quite low. He's a bad atheist.
in Amanda's defense on that, the first time I ever met her was when she was on Rage's channel, and she was supposed to be the guest that they were talking to, and they just Matt Powell showed up in the side chat, and they stuck her on the back burner and just let him be the star of the show instead. And I was like, what the fuck? But
I don't know.
Matt Powell is Rage's whatever, you know. They have a
Yeah, I want to get you against.
We crush.
Brie,
Mhm.
would you be up to have a discussion with Matt Powell?
with Matt Powell.
Yes.
Matt Powell is not going to talk to me. He might have talked to me last year. He's not going to talk
Right.
to me now.
Right. Well, this is the thing. Can we, in the middle, you have an icon up and stuff, and we'll say,
You want to do a gender reveal for Matt Powell?
No. Right, we'll be like, right. We'll put the brain bug icon up, right? We'll put the brain bug icon up and all the rest of it, right? We'll lure him in. We'll say evolution debate. We'll send him some old videos and stuff like that, and then put your hair back, put on a shirt and a pair of jeans, and go, come and fucking debate me, motherfucker, right? And then about 20 minutes or 30 minutes into it, you'll be like, oh, I got my camera working. Brilliant. Now I can have the debate properly. And you switch the camera on going, oh, will you paint me like your French girl, like you're sitting like now? And we'll see how the debate goes.
Well, I tried to get Powell to debate me before, and he wouldn't. So, I mean, I don't
Yeah, I
know.
know. I
Now.
fucking emailed the cunt too. He ignored me.
Yeah, I don't. I think that he's maybe intimidated about the stuff that I wanted to talk about. Maybe I know too much about it for him to fool his audience into thinking I'm dumb. But he really had to
Right.
keep up his response video to me in order to make me sound like I was incompetent. He had to really slice it up, and I don't think he really got his point across even doing that.
Right. Well, would you be okay with me changing, say for talk's sake, one of my stock accounts that's over a year old, that obviously likes all of your videos, that's been subscribed to you for ages and stuff like that, and we'll change that to a name of someone who fights evolution, and he'll say yes, and we'll look at all these videos that they've liked and stuff now, and not know it's you, and we'll evolve. How do you combine porn bomb with an evolution bomb all in one?
We'll call it the Big Bang.
Evo porn bomb.
I feel like it wouldn't work out well though. I feel like
Porn
he would do
illusion?
something really mean or something.
He's gonna come.
Ethan, I'm talking
out
shit
straight.
and slobbering because it's very late and I'm very like too much Big Daddy. Oh, by the way, Brie, that's the weed I got tonight. It was like, would you like White Widow or something new? I was like, give me the new stuff. Well, it's called Big Daddy. Here you are. Thank you very much. It's very sticky. And I say sticky
Oh,
because
Big
even the
Daddy.
tea is sticky.
Big Daddy, do you know that's my gaming name?
I coughed earlier on stream with Wildheart and Jody and Silver, and I was like, damn, that Big Daddy's getting me in the back of the throat. And Wildheart was like, that's what all the girls say. You know?
Oh, I wish I'd have been able to screen grab that.
So we have totally diverged. This is why an after party is mad. But Jamie and Ethan, and before I shut up, I do want to promote next week. Brie, did you look at your Twitter messages sent you?
Do you send me new Twitter messages?
No, I sent you a bug climbing over a digital brain and asked you if that was okay for a thumbnail. You dirty minded.
Yeah. I see it now. That's fine with me. Looks pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay,
Right.
I'm cool with
So
it.
the point of the thumbnail is you're still okay for doing an open panel next week.
I am still okay for doing an open panel as your co-host next week. Is Sammy to be there is really important.
This is a request also that I'm putting out there. Ethan, would you be up for doing it for me? Would you be up for being my co-host some night in an open panel before some bastard takes it out of context? Because I would like to, I work around you, man. Early father, early babies, young children.
I'd be down. No, that'd be fun.
Yes,
So you'll work around Ethan, but in 3 years we have had one fucking stream together because you only can do the times that I'm asleep. You bastard.
And
Nobody asked Sammy to live on the wrong side of the planet. I'm just saying, Sammy. You can come up. There's room up here for you up on this side. Come, you can be my roommate.
I'm trying to get there.
Sammy, I don't know how many times I bent over backwards and
Tell me more.
did so many things to
I know you
accommodate
did. I'm
your
kidding.
happiness, and you never showed up. I don't know how. I think actually we did 3 streams. We did 3 planned streams, and I think the third one you turned up. In 3 years, we did try before, and the first 2 times where we had it organized to your specifications. Stop trying to steal my thunder. Where's my mouse?
Yeah,
Fucking
steal it,
Right.
Bree, because he's
right.
'cause he
And you
thought
didn't
shit.
turn up. All right. Twice before. You didn't turn up.
It wasn't never my specifications. It was always some ridiculous time, like 7 a.m.
Motherfucker. It's always at least 8.
Exactly. Well, who the fuck gets up at 8 a.m. to stream?
I get up at fucking 5 to 7 every morning.
I used to
Yeah, but
get
not
up
to do a
at
stream.
6 a.m. to come on and do critical questions before work.
Can't do it. I tried, but physically and literally just sleep through alarms at that.
Oh, yes. On Tuesday past, after fucking staying up all night in Wilds and doing that fucking thing last week, I slept through work. I was half hour late for work, and only my father rang me. I slept through all my alarms. It
What
happened.
in the world are we talking about at this point?
This is the after party, man. It means absolutely nothing.
No,
All right? Nothing. Would you like to propose a topic?
no, I feel like no. Sorry, I just
Yeah, I'm generally thinking that this should probably go offline to talk shite, and people who want to stay and do stay or don't stay or whatever. I don't think we've anything to offer to the wider audience right now,
I feel like we
except
don't.
Bree.
That's what I'm kind of getting at.
No. Bree's just been milking it for ages, trying to set up their new OnlyFans. You know, they have to get some
Oh,
funds
yeah.
coming in. You
People
know,
want to
that's,
see that 40-year-old trans woman on OnlyFans. That's what they're.
I think right. Okay, I'm just going to say Arden. All right. So, moving on.
I'm no
Uh,
Arden. No, Arden is
Moving on. Oh no, that was that you said who wants to see a nearly 40-year-old trans woman, and I just said Arden. That debunks your argument.
Yeah.
And I've now lost my train of thought.
Ham,
Offline, shit fuckers.
I would pay to see it.
Oh.
I'm surprised I had to say it. I thought
Me
it
and
was
me and
just
Arden
assumed.
gonna be mommy and daughter. I'm old enough to be her mom.
Hey,
Oh.
I'm 40.
Huh?
I'm
How old
40.
is Arden?
So,
I don't know how old Arden is. I think she's
oh,
like
she
26.
at least. Oh wow.
Okay,
She's so
before
mature, she seems like
420
30
and
at
Bree
least.
start a fucking porn stream with the Christians in the room and a father that's thinking about, are my kids still sleeping? Is that a snore? And fucking Sammy goes, dildo, right? I think it's probably time to end the stream. We've all had a bit of crack and stuff. It's been good fun.
And if the anybody's listening here, crack means something different to Robbie than it means over here. There's no crack in this
I
house.
haven't had any crack, but
The crack is overloading in this panel right now. All right, the crack is too much crack. Too much crack. Crack's going. Not only is there too much crack, the crack's overflowing into the gutter. The gutter can't even deal with it. It's running away, and that's why we have to go offline, because the crack be busting the gutter. No, went too
Sure.
far.
I went off camera.
Went too far. Went too far. Sorry.
I actually have a new bikini to try on. Maybe I can.
So, take control of your stream, Sammy.
All right.
Sammy, do you want to see my new bikini or not?
Yes, offline. So, thanks for coming, everybody. You're welcome.
I
to
like the way
stay
you premise
afterwards.
that with everybody and not just.
I might start another stream a little bit later if people are still awake in the rest of the world. Otherwise, see you later.